This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Tasmanians who assault off-duty police officers could soon face guaranteed jail time under legislation set to be debated in State Parliament this week. The Hodgman government is pushing for a 6-month minimum mandatory sentence for those who commit the offence, but the bill is already receiving strong opposition.
On the beat, Tasmanian officers have strong legal protection if they're seriously assaulted. But once off duty, they currently have no additional support. The Liberals say they want to change that.
We are sending a message to the community and to people who are violent that you've got to keep your hands off our staff. You've got to keep your hands off our police officers.
The state government will this week push to have its minimum mandatory 6-month jail time for those that seriously assault on-duty officers extended.
We're talking about police officers who are not currently on duty but suffer a serious assault and they've been targeted because of their job. And so they deserve our protection as much as if they were on duty.
The Tasmanian Law Society has continuously opposed mandatory sentences. The Labor Party today acknowledging it will also not support the bill.
The evidence around whether or not mandatory sentencing works hasn't changed. There is no clear evidence to support mandatory sentencing, even from the government's own Sentencing Advisory Council.
Legislation will also be tabled this week to phase out suspended sentences. Extending presumptive cancer compensation to cover volunteer firefighters will also be debated. And with only 6 more lower house sitting days before the next state election, Labor says it will push for an election campaign spending cap. It wants individuals vying for a lower house seat to have a $75,000 limit and parties to have a $750,000 cap.
And we'd also like to see the lowering of the threshold to $1,500 for disclosure so that we don't have anonymous donations made to political parties or individuals that aren't disclosed to the public.
The Liberals say spending caps would advantage opposition parties who could use unions, the Wilderness Society and Get Up to outspend them. Monica Dudson at Southern Cross News.
Well, firefighters battling a large bushfire near St Helens have today made significant progress. The Tasmania Fire Service says the Argonaut Road blaze remains behind containment lines and there is currently no immediate threat. Air tanker Thor was deployed from New South Wales to help fight the fire, but this afternoon left the state as it's no longer needed. The cause of the fire has been deemed accidental. Investigators say it started from a burn-off on private property some weeks ago, and the blaze has since burnt around 7,500 hectares, and those in the area are reminded to remain vigilant in case conditions do change. Australia's icebreaker, the Aurora Australis, is packed with more than 7 tonnes of research equipment as it heads to Antarctica for a busy summer season. Scientists are on a groundbreaking mission to understand supercooled clouds, helping explain weather events across the globe.
This is just some of the high-end equipment to help scientists learn more about clouds over the Southern Ocean, a major experiment in collaboration with the United States to understand global weather events.
This is one of the most exciting international and interdisciplinary projects that we're progressing this season.
More than 7 tonnes of research technology worth around $14 million is on board the Aurora Australis, specifically designed to handle the tough conditions.
The instruments had to go through rigorous testing to make sure that they could withstand the environmental conditions we're about to enter into.
Aircraft will join Australia's icebreaker for the project. Scientists on a mission to learn more about supercooled clouds, typically difficult to monitor through space satellites.
So we need to look at them from the surface looking up, or alternatively, which we're also doing this summer, we need to look at the clouds flying research aircraft through them.
Questions surround the cloud's ability to stay in a liquid form despite being at sub-0 degree temperatures. Data expecting to improve climate forecasting worldwide.
We're expecting to find a lot of these clouds, these liquid clouds at very cold temperatures, but we need to understand how often they occur, what altitude they occur, how thick they are.
These data are then sent back into an archive in the United States, and every single bit of data we collect is publicly available as soon as we can.
The Aurora Australis is heading towards the icy continent this afternoon, with its 105 researchers expecting to arrive at Davis Station by the end of the week. It'll start a busy summer season.
During the summer, we've got daylight and better weather, which allows us to do a lot of our field-based programs.
More than 90 programs this summer alone. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Tasmanians are doing their bit to help support the thousands of Australian families with premature or sick babies. Hobart today taking part in a national fundraising event for the Little Treasures Foundation.
Almost 50,000 Australian babies are born sick or premature. Doves released today representing the little ones who didn't survive. Hobart joining the National Walk for Prems campaign, raising money for the Little Treasures support service.
Without these services, families who are going through particularly traumatic times can struggle.
More than 100 people taking part in the 5-kilometre walk around the Montrose foreshore. The aim to raise $250,000 nationwide. Crossing the finish line holding significance for the Flint family.
Our little daughter Phoebe was born premature, about 31 weeks. So we just thought it was a nice thing to be able to come out and support Life's Little Treasures.
Today is a testament of the people that are affected by it in one way or another, either as families with premature babies, families that have lost little bubs.
A network of support from the hospital into the baby's life at home. Days like today vital for the non-government funded organisation.
It's a pretty tough time. It's very hard to certainly can't really imagine what it's like beforehand.
It's all founded by people who have been in these situations, so know the types of support that's required.
Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's new Reconciliation Council has secured a $75,000 state government grant. The committee, launched in August, aims to restore the relationship between the Indigenous and non-Indigenous community. The government's commitment to the cause has recently been questioned following an attempt to reopen four-wheel drive tracks in the northwest. Aboriginal groups are lobbying against the proposal, which is currently being assessed by the Commonwealth. Some of Tasmania's best BMX riders have tested out the Launceston track ahead of next month's state titles. Around 75 riders from mini wheelers to masters today giving their wheels a spin. BMX Tasmania says the sport has grown in the past few years.
Since the conception of the Olympics 8 years ago, mum and dad, everyone can compete at the same time. We have 3 generations in my family, my grandkids, my kids and my wife ride, so it's 3 generations. It's a family sport. Everyone can be involved.
Yeah, I race because the young fella rides, so yeah, family.
Around 200 people are expected to compete in the state titles. They'll be held at the Launceston BMX Club's track at St Leonard's on the 11th and 12th of November. Organisers of the Walk to Defeat MND have hailed the inaugural event a massive success, with a greater turnout than expected at Hobart's Domain Athletics Centre this morning.
We had a goal of about $10,000 to raise for today, and we expected about 100 participants. We ended up with 200 participants.
More than $15,000 has also been raised for MND research, with the Walk to Defeat My Cause page continuing to take donations until the first week in November. For the first time, Tasmania has hosted a paintball tournament. 6 teams from across the state competing in the round-robin event for the chance to win more than $1,000 worth of prizes.
Normally we have to travel interstate for tournaments, so we've just tried to hold a local one.
Organisers hope to grow the sport and intend to host 4 paintball tournaments at different fields across the state next year.
The Tasmanian Tigers' hopes of a comeback are fading fast in their Sheffield Shield clash at the Wacker, with the Tigers back in bat and 6 for 29 a short time ago. After a shaky couple of days, the Tigers' attack rallied slightly overnight, making comfortable work of WA's top order to bring themselves back from the brink.
With the match seemingly out of reach, the Tigers needed quick scalps and Jackson Bird was convinced he had one in Cam Bancroft, the opener dodging another bullet shortly after when he was put down at slips. And just when it seemed like the Tigers couldn't catch a break, Rainbird and Webster got one to stick. They didn't have to wait long for another as Rainbird struck again, dismissing Bancroft on 17. Mitch Marsh lasting just 3 balls before becoming the paceman's 3rd scalp of the day as the Tigers sensed a glimmer of hope. Marcus Stoinis and Hilton Cartwright temporarily curbing the damage before Webster held on to another in slips to bring Stoinis' innings to a close on 32. Gabe Bell sealing Cartwright's fate to keep the pressure on the Warriors' order, and when Bird claimed the last 2 wickets of the day, the Tigers found themselves back in the match, trailing by 294 runs with WA 7 for 202 at stumps.
Was a disappointing Australian Drivers' Championships for Tasmania's Todd and Gareth Ratway overnight, the pair finishing near the bottom of the field at Hobart's Elwick Racecourse. Victorian Chris Alford was too good in the end, securing the title comfortably with support for the event the best it's been in years.
It's the first time the championships were held on a Saturday night in Hobart, and the state's pacing club says it struck the right chord with punters.
I think the days of just thinking people are going to come to the races are gone, so you need to put some entertainment on and you know, they come for an entertainment experience, not just the racing, so that's where we're headed.
The night consisting of 8 races, pitting 12 of Australia's best harness drivers against each other. Todd and Gareth Ratray representing Tasmania, but struggling against the class field. In the end, it was a 2-man race for the championship between New South Welshman Chris Lewis and Victorian Chris Alford, who proved too good in the end, securing his 3rd win of the night in the final race.
Alford gives it a crack with the whip. It's 4 or 5 metres in front. Lead Singer trying to raise an effort in 2nd spot, but Semo Will Rev's going to make it 3 from 3, and Chris Alford takes the title.
Organisers hoping the popularity of last night's championship translates into the upcoming summer racing series.
Yeah, that was our biggest crowd for a fair while now, so we want to roll on into Tasmania Cup in December and try and encourage people to keep coming to these events.
Good evening. A mostly fine, dry day for Tassie. Hobart 23, Launceston 20, Burnie and Devonport 17. 24 was the top today, recorded at Bushy Park and Flinders Island, 23 at Grove and 22 at Maria Island, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and King Island. Our lowest temp was 0 overnight at Butler's Gorge. The satellite has picked up bands of high-level cloud ahead of a cold front approaching the west coast of Tas, wrapping into a low pressure system south of the Bight. Mid-level cloud patches present over central Northern Territory and parts of Queensland. The remainder of the country is mostly cloud-free. Up close, that low-level cloud is breaking up about the north during the afternoon, with high-level cloud extending over the west. Tomorrow, that cold front will move into the west of the state, while a high-pressure system builds in the Bight and over southern Western Australia. On the water, west to southwesterly winds to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots about the south and west, seas to 7 metres in the west and up to 3 metres in the east. A strong wind warning is current for the southern and western coastal waters from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape. Tomorrow, a wet day and lower temps for most of Tasmania. Ooze 17, Dover 18, Hobart 19, Launceston showers 18, Devonport 16, Scottsdale a clearing shower with 15, Burnie clearing showers 17, Strawn and Stanley 15, St Helens a few showers 18, Swansea increasing showers 19 and Ross 18. Don't let the showers fool you though. The UV tomorrow ranges from high to very high. The 3-day forecast has rain for Tuesday about the west and far south, mostly fine elsewhere. Wednesday mostly fine in the central north, showers in the west and south. Thursday, your lawns will be getting more out of hand with more rain in the west and south extending statewide in the afternoon. And around the country tomorrow, looking sunny in Perth 27, showers clearing in Adelaide 18, Cairns sunny 32 and Melbourne a few showers with 17.
That's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. Good night.